What's going on, everyone? Welcome to another live episode of the MPower Show. I am Markeith Brayton and my co-host,
Donzaleigh Powell.
and we want to thank you for joining us again this week as we are going to do a special episode, bringing it right here to you live. And we just are excited each and every week to be coming to you, sharing our expertise, sharing some value, sharing some content that we believe will be helpful to you on the regular basis and in your life. So, Donzaleigh, what's going on? How was your past week?
Oh, my week's been great. Been great. Had a lot going on, but it's been all good things. So yeah,
Okay, how's business been?
everything's good. Everything's good. I kind of juggle a couple of things, but photography's been really consistent. Got a wedding and some more stuff this weekend. So yeah, I'm ready. I'm good to go.
Awesome. Those of you who are joining us live, type in the comments. Let us know where you're tuning in from. We like to see what city you are hailing from. And also take notes, share notes with us today as we go throughout today's topic. Today, we're going to be talking about before you start your business. Here are our lessons learned. Donzaleigh and I both are entrepreneurs. We have had many, many lessons that we've learned over the years. And we're also going to have a guest today who's also an entrepreneur. And I'm going to let Donzaleigh share a little bit more information about our guest today.
Yeah, so I'm super excited to have our guest today. I get to also call her friend. So it's Dr. Deshonda Turner. I call her Dr. D, so that's kind of what she goes by now. And she is with Dr. Deshonda International. So I love it. Entrepreneur lady with what they call uber talented. So I'm excited to have her on today.
Awesome. Brother Cedric Williams said he was in the house. He said, I'm in the house, Clarksville, Tennessee. Awesome. We got James Ford also in the house from Newman, Georgia. All right. Thank you for joining us today for this broadcast. Well, we're not going to prolong anything. We're going to go ahead and bring in our guests today. Welcome, 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 Dr. Deshonda Turner or Dr. D.
Hey.
We
Thank
appreciate you
you so much for
joining
having
us. We appreciate you joining us for today's conversation. It's a fifth Tuesday of the month. So we was like, hey, let's just do a live stream and have a conversation. And let's just talk about all of this great stuff before you start your business. But before we get into the topic, share a little bit more about yourself and give the listening audience more details.
Certainly. First of all, again, thank you for having me. Thank you for the invite and specifically to Donzaleigh. I am Dr. Deshonda Turner, aka Dr. D, and I am an author. I am a college educator. I do quite a few things, but what I'm really passionate about is that I am a passion to profit coach. And so, in that, I help early stage solopreneurs help grow their business without the hassle of the hustle so they can build their bottom line without the burnout. And so, we do that by helping with bringing in processes, operations, strategies, and how do you put those puzzle pieces together to not only start your business but grow and scale it. So again, happy to be here.
Yes, thank you for joining. Passion to profit. Did I get that correct?
Yes.
All right. Yeah. So we're going to talk a little bit about that passion to profit, because it's the beginning of the year still. We're coming to the end. We're at the end of January. But a lot of people have as their resolutions, as goals to, start a business or to generate more revenue in that side hustle that they started. And I thought it'd be a good conversation for entrepreneurs to come together and talk about, lessons that we've learned along the way, before those who are ready to start or thinking about starting a business. Before they start the business, here are some things that you may want to look out for. Here are some lessons that we've learned. And so I just thought it would be a good conversation. My first question to you, though, Dr. D, is why did you decide to jump into entrepreneurship? Or maybe a better question is when did you first fall in love with entrepreneurship?
Ooh. Um, it's actually been several years. It's been what, 10 years actually.
Okay.
10 years. Um, I have to make a long story short. I was in what I call a valley
Mm,
situation in my life. I had transitioned from one amazing career to another, and I worked kind of high up in corporate, pretty high up actually. And for those who don't know, if there's a restructure in corporate America, normally they cut the fat first. And
mm.
so I was one that was laid off because I was making too much money.
Wow.
And so I just kind of found myself just questioning what direction will I go. I was having challenges with trying to get back into corporate America at the level that I had already built at a very young age. And so in that frustration, I prayed, I sought God, and it was revealed to me in a dream that I was a creator, I was an
Mm.
entrepreneur, and in that, I just kind of walked in that stead. And through that journey, it's just been amazing because it seemed like every time I turned around, when I kind of identified with that, everyone that I've met were amazing entrepreneurs and people who poured into my life, and so I've been running ever since.
Yeah, that's good. You would have been good for the conversation we had, I think, a couple of weeks ago, because both Donzaleigh and I both were laid off. So we all have that in common
Oh yeah.
as entrepreneurs. Good stuff. Well, as you think about the many years that you've been an entrepreneur and thinking about that journey that you've been on, what is one lesson? What's your first lesson learned from being an entrepreneur?
Well, I'm probably gleaning these exact words from Donzaleigh herself, but perfection definitely stops progression. It handicaps progression, and so I've always been known as a perfectionist,
Hmm.
and for so many actually years, I was just trying to get everything just right, everything in the right place before I actually launched a business. And what happened is it caused me to miss opportunities. It caused me to become weary in a journey that, you mentioned, when did I fall in love? It caused me to get to a point where I didn't love it for a moment. And it caused me to kind of give up for a minute. I went back into corporate America. So when I kind of transitioned back over into entrepreneurship, then it's all about just going, just leaping. One of the things I forgot to say in my introduction is that I'm also the creator of the Leap Challenge Masterclass, and I came up with that because I wanted to help people to that really have this entrepreneurial spirit, have an amazing solution to a problem, but you're just trying to get all the right pieces in places before you launch, while someone is really struggling and praying for the solution you have, and you just do not learn how to grow until you start growing.
Yeah,
So
that's
that
good.
is my major lesson of many that
Mhm.
I would highlight today.
I'm gonna jump in on that. So one of my coaches just sent our group an email. And I actually shared the email with Deshonda as well because I feel like it's so fitting. So I'm just gonna read it real quick. So one of the common issues that prevents people from moving forward is waiting for the perfect time.
Hmm.
Many times people want the scenario to be perfect before moving forward. The perfect time or scenario does not exist. Perfection is the enemy to production. Solomon
Mhm.
said it best. Sometimes we just have to go for it. So
That's good.
I love that. When I read it, I was just like, you know what? Which I already think like that, but still, it just kind of reminder, like,
Mhm.
stop waiting.
Stop waiting. Stop waiting. So,
Absolutely.
Donzaleigh, is that your first one, or did you have a different one as your first lesson learned?
Well, I'd say my first lesson learned, I'm gonna say, is really adjusting to sticking to a routine.
Mhm.
I am a very structured, let me say this. I operate best in a very structured format. So for years, especially even when I was in corporate, that's one of the things that helped me to be able to juggle as much as I did. Is I still, like, literally at one point I was getting up at, like, I want to say 2 a.m., working out at 3 a.m., showering and everything at the gym, going straight to work. I would be there by like 6 at the latest, like I was one of the first people there, and just go. So, but really having that structure and that operating in it kind of helped me. So I think sticking to a routine, because when you're an entrepreneur, obviously you can start to make your own schedule. You can start to say, hey, you know what? Let me get up a little later. And I don't operate as well in that. So I think for me, it's trying to make sure that I kind of pull myself back when I'm getting a little too lax and stick to the schedule.
Yeah, that's a good one. That is a real good one.
Mhm.
I think one of my early lessons learned for me was trust yourself.
Mm.
I, for a long time, wanted to step out and really do my own thing as a speaker. And I would go to my office and literally close the door and look out the window and just dream of the opportunity to do the thing that I knew that I loved to do. Every job that I had, I was always teaching, training, or doing something that had to do with speaking. And so for me, it was just the idea of growing to trust myself that the vision that I had could actually be real. I wasn't raised to be an entrepreneur. I went to school, went to graduate school, progressed in my career in healthcare. And, my thought was that I'd be a CEO of some type of major hospital or a health institution and, you know, retire wealthy, this, that, and the other. Never thought about entrepreneurship until I started actually just working in my career and realizing that there was something missing. And early on, I just realized that, okay, there's a reason why I have this unsettling. There's a reason why I don't necessarily feel fulfilled. I need to trust the feeling that I have and start to pursue what it is that I want to pursue. And so that first lesson for me is just trust yourself.
Yeah.
Trust the gift, the talent, the abilities that you do have, and start taking steps in creating what it is that you want to create around yourself as a business. Because I think it's so important that we recognize that we all have something unique that we have that we really could monetize.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And you just need to find the right system or the right business model that fits that skill that you have, because I'm sure it solves somebody's problem, because that's all entrepreneurship is. It's
Yeah.
solving people's problem. What problem do you solve? What's that most innate thing that you have? I'm in my vein now, that
Mhm.
you can do better than anybody else, that people are already calling you for. And I was
Mhm.
already speaking at schools and going to universities and doing speaking engagements. I was in the ministry. I was already preaching in front of hundreds of people. And so why couldn't I step out there and start a speaking business? And now, doing speaking, coaching, and consulting. But I wouldn't have never known that if I did not trust myself. So that would be my first lesson learned. Anybody else have any other comments?
I'll just say, I
I,
think go ahead, D.
I'm sorry, because he really hit home there. Like that will probably be my number two. And I was because I was thinking about the perfection, but I know that was a big thing for me. But the trusting yourself, that is why I actually transitioned really from consulting into a passion to profit coach, because I started seeing the success that I was bringing through my gifts in other people's lives, and and I had to come to grips with myself, like, wait a minute, and I had gotten into a situation where even when I entered back into corporate America, I felt like I was being exploited. And like you, Marquise, I always had that time. It would take me about 2.5 years, and like that 2.5 to 3 years, I would just become unhappy for no apparent reason. Nothing has happened. Something's missing. There's a void there. And and then I was just like, what is wrong with me? Like, why am I feeling this way? But it was because of that gift that is made. It wasn't designed to be put in a box. It was designed to be the solution to a problem. And one of the things that one of my coaches have said that really just blew me away, and it's probably seems so simple, is that, she says, do you not know that what you have, someone is actually praying for it, searching for it, and even maybe desperate for it right now? And you're sitting here holding on because you're not trusting what's in you. And when I say that lit a flame behind me, ever since I've heard that, I've been on go mode. So I just wanted to add to that because that hits a sharpness in my journey as well.
Yeah.
Very
Um,
important.
Mr. Ford, we thank you for that comment. He says,
Yes.
most have a talent. You got a gift, use it. As you look around, people are getting paid for what you are good at. Just get on the right lane. That's so
Yeah.
good. So
I love
Yeah.
good.
it. So mine, I'd say similar to Deshonda. I do say that would kind of be my number two, but I kind of worded it as reflect on your strengths.
Mm.
Mm.
Because when I look back, like when I think about it, so when I was in college, I was uh, pretty much I restarted the African American Student Association there, and I was the
Mm.
president. But then that ended up when I was in corporate, I was doing diversity and inclusion, supplier diversity. It's like really all of that and stepping up as a leader to say, you know what, this is a need and I'm gonna be the one to, if nobody else listen, it still needs to happen, and so I'm gonna be the person.
Yeah.
And that's what I had to do every day in that job is stand up and be that person. So when you look back, and even I mentioned this before when we've talked about when I, kind of how I got into photography and things like that, and I was always the kid with the little disposable camera. I always had all the photo albums. I had more photo albums than anybody. If anybody needed a picture, they were coming to me. Hey, do you have the picture from such and such? So it's like just think back, like what has always kind of been there, even though I never thought about it as a business
Hmm.
until it became one. Yeah.
Until it became one.
Yeah.
Wow. I think my second lesson learned would be it had to come from a quote that I always recite at
Mm.
every speaking engagement that I do, and that is from Dr. Miles Monroe. He said that the greatest failure in life is life without purpose. Moreover,
Mm.
life's greatest tragedy is to be successful at the wrong assignment.
Mm.
Boom.
So my second,
Like
yeah. And that's what usually happens when I say that. People get quiet and they're like, oof, right? And so my second lesson is almost similar to the first one, but it is this idea that you have a lane
Hmm.
and that
mhm.
success looks different for everybody.
Yes.
And that you can't look at somebody else's success and you can look at that success and kind of maybe pattern yourself or model, but you got to ask the question, is that for me or is
Mhm.
that specifically for them? Because you want to be successful at the right thing, which is why it's so important for you to do inventory on your gifts, your talents, and your abilities. Because 9 times out of 10, that success that you want or that you're going to have is first going to be built on the foundation of what you were already given to create that opportunity for yourself. And so
Mhm.
you want to make sure that you're successful at the right thing. That's why I was unfulfilled. That's why I will be looking out the window every day, already with the corner office with a door, right? That's what we was working toward, like having a door and an office that we can close, and it's not a cubicle anymore. But what's your assignment?
Yes.
What's your
I,
assignment? I'll never forget the quote I learned from Dr. Cindy Trim as well. She said that true success is the fulfillment of purpose. The key to success is self mastery.
Mhm.
So, first, what's my purpose? Then, two, once I know that, how do I now perfect and master the thing that I've been given? And so I think that's my second lesson is that you got to find your lane, find your assignment, align with that assignment, and then watch things start to, you don't even have to hustle when you find your lane.
Mhm.
You know, I graduated, I guess maybe about 2 or 3 years ago, I graduated from that hustle culture. Because I
Mhm.
was like, this, it shouldn't be this hard.
Mhm.
It should be this hard. Like, let me step back, you know. And it took me being introduced to individuals who were making, seven figures in their business, and it just looks so easy.
Mhm.
It looks so easy because they were in their lane. They were doing the thing that they were created to do. And I was like, I'm tired of, you know, bending here and being flexible here and haggling here about price, about this and that. I'm like, no, it's got to be an easier way. And once I found my lane, woo, things really got a little bit better, you know?
Take a
So
load
yeah,
off.
takes the load off.
Yeah, so this I know last week or when I was referring to the vision tour that we've done and how really having people drill down to their personal mission statement. So it's right in line with what you're saying. It's like, you know what? At the end of the day, what is truly important? And some of
Hmm.
the other things have to go off of your list of to-dos in order to make sure that that main thing is being accomplished. And like you said, starting to master. You can if you're always and I get it. We always have, you have life going on as well. So you might have kids that are pulling. I'm trying to get them to soccer practice. I'm trying, which all, can also detour, or sometimes it makes you tired. By the time you're done with all that, you're like, well, I gotta at least make sure that they get this. So in fact, I just saw a post earlier this week where the lady was basically saying, you know what, you know, try to not overindulge your children's basically their desires to do all of these things.
Hmm.
So maybe yes, maybe have them do one, but do they have to do band, football, track, gymnastics, and you're juggling all this and you never get to you never get to the rest of the family for trying to do all these things
That's
that
right.
at the end of the day,
Yeah,
but yeah.
yeah. Ty Walter says, my biggest entrepreneurial lesson is money management. I made the money. God blessed me with the abundance in my business, but I had no idea with what to do with it, and I managed it poorly. I've learned that lesson now, but I feel like that is a topic. Let's go back. Most people don't discuss is money
Mhm.
management once they make it. Thank you for
Yeah,
sharing. Thank you for
very good one.
sharing. Cedric says, he said, that's a quote. You don't have to hustle when you find your lane. That's true. You
Mhm.
don't have to hustle when you find your lane. And your idea and your vision about business doesn't even have it may not be similar to somebody else's. Here's and this kind of goes along with my lesson that I used to think that the goal for me was to have all these clients that paid me a certain amount of money in order for me to reach my revenue goal until I encountered a coach who said, you got to determine what type of business that you want. And then I realized that I'd rather work with 5 clients and make 100 grand than to have to work with 50 clients and make 100 grand.
Deshonda
right?
and I talk about this all the time.
I'd rather work with 50 clients to make a million than have to work with 250 clients to make a million. And so what I realized was that I wanted to be more of a premium based business that provided premium type of programming for a specific person than I
Yes.
would wanting to have thousands of people following me, paying me, $10, $20, which that's a model too, right? And you may grow to that model, you may ultimately include that model. But I realized that, man, if my goal is 250,000 in my business this year, that means that at a certain price point, if I have a $25,000 program, I just need 10 people.
That's it. Yeah, you speaking my language.
Come on,
That's what I
somebody.
see.
I hope y'all listening out there. I
Yes,
just need
yes.
10 people in 12 months to buy the $25,000 program.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not as far fetched as some may believe, and I'm sharing this just as an example that, right before we got on today, I was sharing with them, oh, my client just said the check was ready. Guess how much that check was? $25,000. I just need 9 more now. And I'm sharing that to say that your vision has to be your vision, not
Absolutely.
somebody else's vision. Because you could be selling yourself short trying to live somebody else's vision. You could be thinking small trying to live somebody else's vision. All right, let's not preach today. Let's go
Come on.
on.
Okay, brother Braden.
I almost said amen. I was trying to
Right.
hold it in. I was like, wait a minute.
All right,
Wow.
any other? Well, third lesson. What's a third lesson for anybody who wants to go?
Whew.
I'll just jump on in. I'm just gonna say, um, start building your business credit immediately.
That's good.
Just a little note. That's all. Not that it's a big, huge, whatever, but it's important. And I wasn't aware, and just not realizing. Go ahead and do it. Yeah. So.
Yeah, that's good. Dr. D?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. So, um, when you fail to set a target, you miss every time.
Mm,
So planning is essential. I'm sure we've heard the saying that one who fails to plan plans to fail. And so, if you don't set targets in your business, I think I actually went live earlier today, and I was talking about the magic and metrics, and talking about how there should be, of course, goal sets, and there should be a means of measuring, and part of that is the money management part. You need to measure your financial metrics. You need to measure your marketing metrics, your operational metrics, your employment metrics if you have employees. And so if you have to have targets so that you can measure how well you are doing in your business. And so if you don't know if you're doing well or how you're doing, then I pose the question, what are you doing? What are you doing? So yeah, you definitely want to set targets in your business, because without that, you're going to miss every time.
so good. Without that, mine is similar. The one I want to share was having systems in place.
Hmm.
Gosh, I don't think I had systems for probably the first 2 or 3 years of my business. I didn't have any systems. And basically, what I'm saying is that what's the system uh, for your business? I have a particular type of business where I do have clients and organizations that come through a particular pipeline. But that's what I'm saying. How do you market to your client customer? Then how do you bring them in to your business? How do you provide the service to them? What's the conclusion aspect of that service? And then how do you cycle them back through? Basically, would be a system. Market to them, bring them in, provide the service, exit them, or recycle them back through, because we all want what? Repeating clients. We all want clients who have a longer customer life within your business. And you won't experience that if you don't have good systems in place for your business. And so systems are something that I would say you really want to focus on early. What is your system for your business and getting clients, serving your clients, and then fulfilling the service, and then what's quote unquote the upsell or the next service that they will need. Because to some degree, your offer or your program or your service probably creates a new problem. Right? Because you should be growing with your client. And so what systems will you have in place for your business before you start? You want to think about that system, no matter what type of business you have, whether you're a plumber, whether you're a mechanic, whether you're a speaker, coach, photographer, what have you. And since we are there, we're going to stop for a quick second, and we're going to do a quick commercial break and promote our co-host and her business this week again. So we'll be right back after this.
So with Donzaleigh's Photography, we specialize in helping you bring out you. One thing that I've noticed, people can be scared, intimidated about doing a shoot, especially if it's the first time. I've modeled before, done acting, the whole nine. So if you need help with that, I'm gonna coach you through the whole thing. I'm gonna tell you how to pose, make you look real cute. And then by the time you get your images, you're gonna look back and you're gonna be like, that was me, I did that. So I love doing that for people. I love bringing out you. So just make sure that you check us out. We'd be happy to work with you.
Welcome back to the MPower show. As we were talking about, before you start your business, here are our lessons learned. And we've already each given 3. I think we should give one more as a bonus, and then we will end with words of inspiration as well. But type in the comments. Let us know, those of you who are tuning in live, let us know if you have a business, what's one lesson that you've learned as an entrepreneur that you would like to share in the comments, and we'll put those on the screen. Share that with us today while we are live. But Donzaleigh or Dr. D, you have another one?
I'd say my last one. I've mentioned it before, but it's be okay with the no's. I think just becoming developing that skin, that thick skin to say, you know what, it's okay if somebody says no. It's okay. Every so often, you're going to get those no's, and that's okay because eventually you're going to get that yes. And the yes is exactly what you need. So, like how you were saying, you just need the 10 at the 25K. Hey, be okay with making the statement. Here's the price. Here's what I need. And sometimes you'll get a no. It's all right.
Yeah, sometimes you get a no. I think I heard somebody say no means next opportunity.
Yep.
Yeah. Dr. D?
Absolutely. It's kind of twofold, but it's all in one. And it's what I say a lot, and that's marketing precedes sales. And marketing and sales should be going on 24/7 in your business, which the way that happens is via having your processes in place. But one of the things that I think specifically in the beginning of my business, we can get kind of overwhelmed or busy with the administrative piece, trying to put things together And sometimes we miss opportunities with building those relationships and getting your business out there. And so marketing, it's not about just going right to the sale, just punching someone in the gut like, hey, especially if you are a premium business like yourself, or even like me, you have to understand that you are building relationships. And so when you're building relationships, it's just that, building. And that takes time. You have to have a foundation. You have to put the studs in. You have to do all the ugly stuff before you could put the roof and all of that. So just understand that you might not, kind of like what Donzaleigh say, you're gonna get those no's, but in the process you're building. And so marketing precedes sales. And if you're consistent in that, then the sales will absolutely come.
That's so good. I want to hit on just a little bit real quick when we were talking about premium based business. And I feel the need to have to say this, that it didn't start that way.
Right.
That I had to go through the process of undervaluing myself, then go through the process of haggling with pricing, and then going back to the foundation and say, Markeith, trust yourself. But it took coaching. It took coaching to help me to develop a better relationship with money, because there was a time where I didn't even have the confidence to tell somebody something was 25 grand, to tell somebody something was 10 grand. I didn't have the confidence. So it took me investing in myself and having coaching from people who were charging folks 100 grand for a program, right? Can you imagine the type of self-esteem that you have to tell somebody you have a program that's 100 grand for 12 months? And so I had to invest in myself. And notice what I'm saying, everyone. I had to invest in myself to get somebody to help me with my mindset around money. Because
When
I
I
didn't.
say both of you all are so similar, like every time, whenever I talk to you, I think about the other because
Yeah.
you have a lot in common.
Yeah, and it took some time, and it wasn't until I enrolled in this mastermind in 2019 to help me develop a program. And in 2019, within 3 months, I had my first $20,000 client. I had never charged, I think, more than 5 before that. But it took me getting some coaching, getting some mindset training, and getting comfortable with money to be able to comfortably tell somebody the program is 20 grand and to shut up.
That's the key. Shut up.
Yeah, drop it in.
Right, and shut up. And here's the thing. When I did it the very first time, I realized I still wasn't charging enough, because they was like, oh, well, who do I make the check out to? There was no conversation. That's why I'm at 25 now. But anyway.
I was gonna say, well, that definitely made it where you won't be as intimidated to do it again. Like, oh yeah,
Right.
well, okay, let
Right.
me keep asking. Like I
Yeah.
said, I'll take
Yeah.
that. If a couple say no, that's okay. Just
Yeah. And
wait.
then in the last 2 years, it's happened several times, right? But I'm more comfortable because I got the coaching. And so I'm gonna let that be my third lesson. I mean, my fourth lesson. Invest in yourself. Get coaching.
Yeah.
Get mentoring. Get join a mastermind. Surround yourself with people who are doing things oh, this is so good. Surround yourself with individuals who are doing things on the level that you want to do it on. Not with people who are doing it on the level you are on now. Surround yourself with people who are doing what you want to do on the level that you want to do it on. And I truly want to build, a 7-figure business as a speaker and a coach. And the reason why I know it's possible It's because I have invested in myself and been in masterminds with other speakers and coaches who do it on an annual basis. And so I just keep trying, I keep pressing, I keep investing in myself, going to conferences, I keep enrolling in coaching programs with individuals who have proven systems, with individuals who have the receipts, right? And with individuals
Mhm.
who also invest in themselves. So if I'm investing 10, 12, $15,000 in a program, my coaches are investing 50, 60, $70,000 in their programs. So we have to be willing to invest in ourselves. Like we might have lost Donzaleigh. But do you have any relationship? What do you think about coaching and mentoring and investing in yourself, Dr. D?
Oh wow. I mean, 100% in agreement with you. I mean, I couldn't have said it better. It wasn't until I invested in myself as well. I did very similar to you, and I invested up. And you got to understand, we talk about mindset, and I talk about this as well. There's such a difference with the mindset that look at expenses versus investment. And
Mm-hmm.
so when you are giving of your resources or your substance, you're looking for a return on that investment. So you're absolutely right. It that changed the face of my business. It helped me get clarity in my business, and it literally took my mindset from where it was to through quantum leaps, to other levels, and it positioned me to be able to be in my lane and be confident in my lane.
Yeah.
So I will continue to invest in myself as long as I'm doing this. Like you said, I invest into my coach who invests at a higher level. One day I want to be investing in at that level, and I'm sure so forth. Moving forward, but it has literally made the difference in my business and in my life.
Yeah, that's so good that, we have to be willing to invest in ourselves. We have to be willing to, allow other people to see what we can't see. I love this quote I learned. It says, it's hard to see the picture when you're in the frame.
Mm,
When you're in the frame, there are things that you can't see. And so I'm willing to pay somebody to see the things I can't see so they can help me get to where I'm trying to go a little bit more expeditiously. And
yes.
so that is so, so key. Looks like our co host is back.
My apologies.
No problem. No problem. We were just talking about investing in ourselves and, what are your thoughts around coaches and investing in yourself?
Yes, I definitely believe in it. Also thankful. I've had quite a few mentors. So sometimes for me, sometimes that one-on-one is kind of good. In fact, I meet with one of them Thursday. I'm
Mhm.
excited about that. But I do think it's important. You always got to keep refining, keep learning, and people can, like you said, kind of drop things in that just a whole different perspective. Like, oh yeah, I should, or no, I shouldn't. Why am I? So I love it.
Yeah, that's good. Well, this has been a great, great conversation. We've been going almost 45 minutes. Well, Dr. D, we like to always end the show with words of inspiration. We like to kind of share some parting words to inspire, to encourage, and to motivate people to, be their best and their best self and show up as their best self. And so we will start with you, if that's okay, to give parting
Yes,
words of
absolutely.
inspiration.
Absolutely. So I have this saying with my Leap Challenge Masterclass, and that is you will never know the possibilities unless you take the leap. And so I've had an earlier mentor who told me this, and it has stuck with me ever since. And she said, the more you go, the more you know. The more you know, the more you grow. But the thing is that things doesn't grow without movement. So just make sure that wherever you are, specifically if we want to talk about business, but even in your life, if there's a desire there, if there is a goal, a vision there, you have to make forward movement. And again, as we talked about, you don't want to prepare or compare rather yourself with the next person, because someone who's been doing it for 10 years is certainly going to be further down the road than you. But what you want to do is you want to make the movement towards that vision or that goal. You don't want to sit there, because again, if you're not moving, you're not making any progress and you're not growing. So you'll never know the possibilities unless you take the leap.
And my last words would be to you is, as you think about what it is that you want to do the next 11 months of 2023, as you think about the next steps you want to take after listening to today's episode, what you should consider is, who am I and why?
Mm-hmm.
Who am I and why? There's a saying that says that if you know your why, you can endure anyhow. If you know your why, you can endure anyhow. And that's just simply saying that there are a lot of things that are coming your way to try to deter you from doing that in which you know you're called to do, doing that which you're purposed to do. But when you know your why, you can move mountains. When you know your why, you can jump over any obstacle. When you know your why, you'll be willing to pivot and make U-turns. When you know your why, you'll press through any how. Stay the course. Continue moving forward. Every step is a step towards that ultimate destination, even if it's just needlepoint moves. If you know your why, you can endure anyhow. Donzaleigh?
Yes. So because we're this show was kind of focused on that early stage, or entrepreneurs or people getting in, I found this quote, and it's by Mark Victor Hansen, and I thought it might be inspirational for someone that's kind of starting out. So the quote is, "For the next 30 days, think, talk, walk, smell, feel like business and is booming, and it will."
Mm.
Mm,
So
that's
put
so
all
good.
that energy into it's booming. It is. It's booming. Like, what's the problem? It's coming. It's here,
Yeah, yeah.
and it'll.
Well, this has been an exciting show. I am loving the virtual live shows. They're coming together. Things are going well. But before we go, Dr. D, let people know how they can continue to follow you and learn more about you.
Absolutely. I am on, yeah, just about every social media platform you can think of: Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and you can find me at Dr. D or Deshonda Turner. So if you put any of those in, you certainly can find me there. And my website is drdturner.com.
drdturner.com. Well, thank you for joining us for this week's episode.
Yes, thank you for having me. This has been so fun and just a pleasure. Anytime I have the opportunity to share and help people grow and add to people, that is my lane. So this has been amazing. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Well, Donzaleigh, thank you for inviting our guests today. This was a great conversation. We appreciate all that you are doing for the MPower show and everything. So this has been good. And until next week, just remember this: always shoot for the top, because it's the bottom that's overcrowded. Take care.